This is thick, creamy Greek yogurt made with only three ingredients. And in a few minutes, I'll show you how to make almost 2.5 kilograms, about 5.5 pounds of it at home. Making it yourself only costs a fraction of what the same amount would cost at the store. And once you know the process, it's surprisingly simple. So, if making your own high protein Greek yogurt for a fraction of the price sounds good, let me show you exactly how to do it. For this batch, I'm using 4 liters of milk, about a gallon, 150 grams skim milk powder, about 1.5 cups, and a half cup of yogurt starter. The starter is simply yogurt from a previous batch. I use my own zero fat yogurt as the starter, which keeps the culture consistent from batch to batch. Any type of milk works. Today I'm using skim milk because I want to demonstrate how to make a zero fat yogurt. Skim milk is actually a bit more challenging because it's prone to scorching. So I'll show you the technique that I use to prevent that. The process itself is really the same, whether you use skim milk, 2% whole milk, or even richer milk. You can even add a couple tablespoons of cream if you want that yogurt to be richer and more scorch resistant. For equipment, I'm going to be using the Instant Pot in this video. The Instant Pot makes yogurt very convenient because it can hold the milk at a stable incubation temperature, but it's not required. You can make yogurt with any yogurt maker or any method that keeps the milk warm while the cultures ferment. For this video, though, I'll show you the process using my Instant Pot. Before heating the milk, I like to sterilize the Instant Pot. I add a little water and run the boil function on the yogurt setting. This brings the pot to sterilizing temperature and helps eliminate unwanted bacteria. Once that cycle finishes, I dump out the water. Now the pot's ready. Next, I dissolve the skim milk powder. I mix 150 grams of skim milk powder in about 4 cups of milk to create a smooth slurry. Then I'll divide that mixture between the two batches of milk I'm about to heat. The skim milk powder increases the protein concentration, which helps produce thicker yogurt. Instead of heating all 4 liters at once, I heat the milk in two batches of about 2 liters each. There are two reasons for this. First, it makes it easier to control the temperature, and second, it reduces the risk of scorching. I heat the milk slowly on low heat in a thick bottom stainless steel pot. While the milk heats, I constantly scrape the bottom of the pot. This prevents the milk proteins from sticking and burning. The milk needs to reach 82 degrees Celsius, about 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it reaches that temperature, I can I need to hold it there for about 20 minutes. This step denatures the whey proteins. That allows them to bind with casein proteins and form stronger protein structure. That stronger structure is what ultimately gives Greek yogurt its thick texture. Once the milk is heated, I pour it into the Instant Pot inner pot. Now, when I pour the milk out, you'll notice the bottom of the pot should be clean. There shouldn't be any sticking patterns on the bottom. If you see that, then you might get that burnt taste. Then I place the inner pot into a cold water bath in the sink. While it cools, I stir continually so the temperature drops evenly and I can monitor it accurately. When the milk reaches just above 43 degrees Celsius, about 110 degrees Fahrenheit, I remove roughly about a cup and a half of the warm milk. Then I mix it with the yogurt starter. The stuff is called tempering. It prevents shocking the bacteria and it helps the starter blend smoothly into the milk. It's really important at this point to be careful on the temperature. This is where a batch can fail if the milk is too hot or too cold. Now, once the milk cools to about 110 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 43 degrees Celsius, we're going to pour that tempered starter mixture back into the pot. Then you stir it gently for a couple of minutes to distribute the culture evenly. The pot goes back into the instant pot at this point. I select the yogurt setting. There's no need to change the vent position because the yogurt mode is not pressurized. I set it for 24 hours, but I usually only allow it to ferment for about 16 hours. During fermentation, the bacteria converts to lactose into lactic acid. That acidity increases, the milk proteins coagulate to form a gel. That transformation is what turns milk into yogurt. Longer fermentation allows tangier flavor. This is the texture that a fermentation creates. Now, once the fermentation is finished, I refrigerate the yogurt for a few hours. This allows the yogurt to firm up before straining. I just leave it inside the instant pot, inner pot. I'm going to take that out and I pop it right into the fridge. I cover the top of it with a little bit of plastic wrap, and you want to chill it thoroughly before you start straining. Now, to make Greek yogurt, we strain it. Line a strainer with several layers of cheesecloth and place it over a bowl. Then I pour the yogurt in. I gather the corners of the cloth and I'm going to twist it gently and place a small plate on top for a little bit of pressure. Only a slight amount is needed. Then that entire setup goes into the refrigerator. As it drains, whey collects in the bowl underneath. You can see the whey in this. Don't throw the whey away. Whey contains protein, electrolytes, minerals. You can add it to smoothies, baking, soups, bread dough, or even rice to cook with it. It's very nutritious. After about 12 to 18 hours of draining, the yogurt becomes thick, creamy, almost somewhere between whipped cream and cream cheese. Now, that's right before I stir it. Once you stir it, it will become a little bit softer, but that's immediately after done straining. You can see how thick it is. This is after stirring the batter up. I like it a little bit lumpy, but you can stir the lumps out if you really want to. Now, let's talk about the cost. The 4 liters of milk costed me $7.33. I'm in Canada, so keep that in mind. Our prices are different. The skim milk powder broke down to about a dollar 50. So the entire batch cost about $8.83 to make. After straining, this batch produced about 2.27 kilograms of Greek yogurt. At my grocery store, the same amount would cost me roughly about $28.70. So this batch saved me almost $20. This is the nutritional breakdown of this Greek yogurt. The sugar number looks high, but it's almost entirely lactose, the natural sugar in the milk. Nothing is added. During fermentation, the bacteria partially digests lactose. So that's why many people who are lactose intolerant can tolerate yogurt much better than milk. If you want an even higher protein and lower carbohydrates, you can make this yogurt using ultrafiltered milk and omit the skim milk powder. Ultrafiltration removes some lactose while concentrating the protein. This results in yogurt with more protein and fewer carbs. 3 ingredients, a little patience, and you get thick, high protein Greek yogurt for a fraction of the cost. If you enjoy learning how to make this real food like this, subscribe and follow along. And I'll see you in the next video.